Shalom, brothers and sisters. Today is Wednesday, July the 19th, 2023, and I would like to share the morning manna that was given to me via the Ruach on perfection. On this early Wednesday morning during the 8 o'clock hour, I was listening to instrumental worship music, just praising the Father Yah in song, when I heard the Ruach give me a wonderful example of perfection. And the reason why I say I heard the Ruach, because this was something that was placed and I clearly heard it in my ears. We oftentimes hear people say no one is perfect or stop trying to be a perfectionist, as if striving for perfection is a bad thing or is something or a state that is completely unattainable. Well, this morning, the Ruach placed the perfect example of what it means to be perfect in my heart. I clearly heard the Ruach saying, to be perfect means to be complete. It means to be finished. Then the Ruach gave me an example to envision, like a project that you're working on until you're finished. And day by day, you continue to work on your project, perfecting it until it's finished, until it is finally complete. Then the Ruach led me to look up the Hebrew word for complete. According to the ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible, to be complete means to be whole. Someone or something that is whole, complete, or full. One who is mature and upright, as one who is whole. It says to be complete means to be without blemish, to be perfect, to be upright, full, without spot, and whole. There were several scriptures that came to mind as I read this example. Then the Ruach led me to understand that no one, no matter what they say or tell you or try to get you to believe, the Ruach shared with me this morning that no one wants imperfection in their life. And I didn't understand that at first, because we oftentimes hear people say, well, no one is perfect. Stop trying to be a perfectionist. But again, the Ruach led me to understand that no one, no matter what they say or tell you, no matter how many times they attempt to get you to believe that they love imperfection, the Ruach told me that this is not true, that no one wants imperfection in their life. Then the Ruach gave me 4 clear examples to share with you today to help you to better understand perfection and why it was clearly told to me today that no one wants imperfection in their life, no matter what it is that they are telling you. So I want to share with you these 4 examples that the Ruach gave me, and they were actually like visions that I actually saw. They were moving visions, and I was seeing these examples just placed before me. So the first example that the Ruach gave me was a vision of someone with blemishes, someone who may have acne, someone with blemishes on their face, someone who had a face that was covered with spots. And then I envisioned a woman trying different makeup products to remove them, and a woman putting on concealer and makeup to cover those imperfections. And so when I think about products to remove the blemishes, there are many different regimens that people can use to remove blemishes or dark spots. You can use lemon or lemon juice, and some even go as far as using bleaching cream. But nonetheless, it was all for the sole purpose of removing the blemishes and the spots. And then a woman, again, I was shown a vision of a woman putting on concealer and makeup to cover up their imperfections. Then the Ruach showed me a second example of a man who is seeking perfection in the kind of woman that he desires. And I was seeing visions of a man who would be rejecting many women. And he would continue to reject the women until he found the one that possessed all of the qualities that he looked for, both inwardly and outwardly. And so if you're into your adulthood, I'm sure even as a child, you may have had a crush on someone. You may have liked someone at some point in your life, and you were rejected. And you were rejected because you did not, whether inwardly or outwardly, meet their requirements, or you were not desirable. And so you were rejected. And the Father showed me how many may have a list of qualities, and inwardly, character-wise, outwardly, what you're looking for: tall, dark, handsome, long hair, short hair, light skin, dark skin, whatever the case may be. You have the picture perfect man or woman that you desire to be with, that you're attracted to. And if you are not attracted, for example, to someone who may be overweight, and a woman that's overweight is attracted to you, you might reject her nicely, but nonetheless, you reject her because she doesn't fit what it is that you're looking for, right? And then the third example that the Ruach gave me came later on in the day of Wednesday. The third example was a baker, maybe a baker who is baking a cake. And without all of the ingredients, if there are ingredients that are missing, will this cake be edible? Can you eat it? And if you do, will it taste good? How good will it taste? If ingredients for this cake is missing, what will it look like? Or what if you have all the ingredients, but you take the cake out halfway through the recommended time for baking it? Maybe you were supposed to bake the cake for 40 minutes and you only bake it for 20 minutes. What's going to happen when you take that cake out? Is it going to be done? Is it going to be edible? Is it going to be complete? Is it finished? The fourth and final example that the Ruach gave me was the preparation that a woman or bride would go through for a wedding. If you're a bride, would you walk down the aisle with a dress that has spots all over it? A dress that is ripped or torn? A dress that doesn't fit? A dress that's unclean, dirty? Would you walk down the aisle to the love of your life with this dress on? Every bride wants to look amazing, look beautiful for her husband. And you go over and beyond to be the most beautiful sight that he has ever seen in his life, and you would not dare walk down the aisle with a dress that was not sparkling white or whatever color it was. It would be clean. There would be no spots on the dress. It would not be ripped or torn. It would not be wrinkled. You would make sure that it was steamed. You would make sure that it fit perfectly. Most brides have a final fitting just before the wedding. And if any of the aforementioned occurred, you would do everything within your power to make sure that the spots on the dress were removed, that the dress that was torn by the seamstress, she would be stitching it together. If the dress didn't fit, perfectly fit, you would make sure that everything was perfect. All the way down to the menu, the venue where you're having the event, the guest list. Everything has to be perfect, right? Everything has to be complete, whole. These were the 4 examples that the Father gave me. I was literally, guys, in the middle of praise, listening to my instrumental worship music, just praising the Father, and perfection was brought to my attention. He said that perfection simply means to be complete, to be finished. The Father showed me that perfection is sought by all. Let me say this again. The Father showed me today that perfection is sought by all. But when it comes to me, Abba Yah said, they think that I will accept anything and anyone. He said that the false shepherds in Yasharal have led my people astray. They have my people believing that I love everybody and I love everything, but he says this is not so. Yah says, and I am reading exactly as I heard the Ruach. Yah says, if a man or a woman knows what they want, do they not think that I do too? Yah said, I have told you what I require, holiness and perfection. For without it, they won't see me or be mine. Yah says, no one wants blemishes or spots on their faces. They don't want spots on their shoes. They don't want torn or unclean clothes. He says, for will you not go wash or cleanse the spots off of your own clothes? Yah says, then so will I. Selah. When your clothes get dirty or spotted, don't you take them off and wash them and put on a clean shirt or put on clean clothes? Let me say this again. If your shirt or your clothes were to get dirty, if you had on a white shirt and it was to get spotted, you spilled tomato juice or grape juice on it, wouldn't you take it off and wash it and put another clean shirt on? The Father Yah showed me this morning that this is what striving for perfection means. We talked about the process of sanctification on last Shabbat. Yah says this is what striving for perfection means. Perfection or being perfect does not mean that we are without fault. The Father Yah knows that we have sinned, but He said we do not wallow and remain in sin. We repent and we return. We turn away from it. The word tells us that no one who is born of Yah makes a practice of sin. We do not practice sin. Those who practice sin will hear, "I never knew you. Depart from me, you who are lawless, you who worketh iniquity, you who practice sin." The final thing that I want to say is that we don't throw away our clothes after one wash, or even after several washes for that matter. We don't. Many of us have plenty of clothing in our closet. When our clothes get dirty or stained after one wash, or even after several washes, we don't throw away our clothes. We try our best to preserve our clothing as long as possible. We clean them. We send them to the dry cleaners. We may even send them out to a seamstress. When our clothes get dirty, we wash them, we dry them, and then we iron out the wrinkles. Let me say this again. When our clothes get dirty, spotted, we don't throw our clothes away. We try to preserve our clothing as long as possible. We wash the spots out. We iron out the wrinkles. After they have been thoroughly washed and dried, we iron out the wrinkles. We remove the spots. We clean our clothes, and then we iron out the wrinkles before we wear them out to work or wherever we're going. We don't go out before people, or at least we shouldn't, with filthy clothes on. We don't send our children to school with clothes that have not been washed, clothes that are dirty, clothes that have all types of spots and blemishes and ripped and torn. We don't do that. We send our children to school with clothes that are clean, that smell fresh, that have been washed, that have been ironed. And we go to work with clothes on that have been washed and pressed and cleaned. And so the Father Yah wanted me to present these examples to His people on perfection so that you can know that although people say no one is perfect, stop trying to be a perfectionist. Again, the Ruach shared with me is that no one wants imperfections in their life. When you really reflect back on and ponder on this message, and you think about every area of your life, imperfection is not desirable, not in who we choose as a mate, not when it comes to the work that we do on our jobs, not when it comes even down to what we wear. Yet we think that the great I am, the creator of heaven and earth, Almighty Yah, who has no darkness in him, who is without sin and cannot sin, who sent his son, who is life and light. We think that he has changed his mind about holiness, that he has changed his mind about walking upright. He wants you to know that what he has said still remains true today, no matter what the world is telling you. His son is coming back for a bride without spot and without blemish and without wrinkle. And when he returns, if you do not prepare yourself, if you have not prepared yourself, you will be rejected. Imperfections are not desirable, not even in our own lives, and definitely not with our Abba Yah. Please take heed to this message and prepare yourselves to be that bride without spot, without blemish, and without wrinkle, because that is what he is coming back for. Shalom.